we're probably crying or probably reacting these ways because of the platform, the BBC, because it's global, it's far-reaching than what you probably could have in Nigeria. So that means that they are not just projecting the news or reporting the news to Nigerians; they're reporting it to everyone around the world that can access BBC.
Okay, Dr. Dio, let's well, maybe just
you see,
we could leave that really, and let's talk about the sex for
that's where I'm coming to.
When you heard this, what was running through your head actually?
Yeah, you see, no doubt about it. It's a good journalistic endeavor that Kiki, I think his name.
Yes,
her name is
Kiki
Kiki. Kiki Modi from 97 point whatever, 1 FM. Yeah, but you see, my own grouse about it is that issue of ethnocentric sentiment on it, in terms of BBC seeing itself as a corporation, a news media that decide to come all the way from that end to Nigeria to come and unveil some things. And it's so unfortunate the way we Nigerians now grab the whole thing, forgetting that, look, like Yemi Saka said, a lot of people have been coming up with these issues before. There was what that happened in Uniben, what that happened in Ife. It has been happening all over the places. And all these things
have been reported too.
They have been reported, equally reported. But the news, the news village, they were not picking it up the way they are now picking this. Even that now made me to have all kind of feelings. To even raise this question, is there any particular sin that man in Unilag has committed that made Kiki to really followed him in particular? Because according to her, that cold room is not meant for only him. They call it within the staff club or whatever.
Yeah, they have a code.
So is it the only person in that staff club? So sorry, Saka, why not coming up with various lecturers there that are into it? Then why that one too in Ghana? Do you understand? So to me, for that job to have been really completed, to say yes, we want to unravel.
I think the BBC
is
hopeful that with Boniface, trapped, he might probably make some further revelations.
Revelation in one sense. Revelation in one sense.
Sorry to put in. I don't want us to miss the essence of the reportage by BBC. As a person that was in Nigerian university for quite a while, and I know how endangered the female students are. I'm not saying this because I want to sound objective. I want to sound appealing to the female gender and the female, population of Nigeria. But that's the truth. They are the victims of rape across campus. They are the victim of molestation by lecturers and students. And if something like this is not because of a particular lecturer, it's to let you know that now everybody will get careful. You don't know who you're talking to. Everybody needs to. Then lecturer starts to zip up. I've seen a lady that when I met her in the university, and she couldn't even graduate because she's been carrying a course for 100 level days, and I think she did two extra sessions because she refused the advances of a lecturer. I knew of a lady that she was a permanent girlfriend of a lecturer because she just needed to pass through school. So don't let us lie to ourselves. You see, it has come to.
It's in the system.
Sure.
And it has to be corrected.
I
don't care if it starts with the Pope in Nigeria or the most respected lecturer in Nigerian university or the academic world, but let us start from somewhere. It is never too late to do the right thing. Okay. So probably some of us someday will probably have kids, will probably have daughters that you want to send into the university. You are not so sure if the moment you send your daughter into the university, you're sending her into the midst of wolves.
Okay, Victor.
Let me quickly add to that. As much as, like I said before, I appreciate what Kiki has done, but it would have been more complete if we had gotten different variables. Do you understand? More than one variable to be able to get to our conclusion. It's just like when you are doing a research. You don't take the whole population, you take sample population. Out of 10, you cannot just take one. But you will take at least 2 or 3.
But we've seen the effects of that because people are mentioning lecturers' names on social media.
Social media and all of that.
And yeah, they're calling lecturers out, and it's gaining traction.
Let's get to hear your thoughts about what we have, especially in the system.
The men folk are at a disadvantage anytime we make reference to sex. Because even the marriage, yes, we are at disadvantage.
Yes. You want to explain what that means?
That is what I'm about to do. Okay. Even when the female folk are the one provoking sexual desire.
How?
That's what I'm saying. Now, for instance, if you are working in office and a female wants to get something, she comes to your office, she sit down, no pants, she spreads her legs like this.
Okay.
She's the one that will also accuse you of sexually molesting her, whereas she's the one doing it through her action. Sometimes a woman will come to the office with her breast exposed, and we know that breast is a sexual organ. Why are you exposing it? What was
I'm
coming up. Please let me just explain myself.
Okay.
We have always been hearing only the part of the female. How about the men? Sometimes some of these girls will not read their books. There was a WhatsApp message some time ago with different picture. A young girl just appeared in the office of a lecturer with her breast exposed to the lecturer, and she said that she wanted to pass her examination by all means. The man said, "Go and read your book." He said, "No, I want to pass by all means." In that WhatsApp, and I said, "Okay, if the man now agree, in the long run, it is not the man that will be accused. Nobody will know whether it was the woman that actually made the move. Nobody will talk about that. It is at the end of the thing they will say it was the man that actually did. But that is not the way it's supposed to be. So even if you check the Bible, when Potiphar's wife was making advances on Joseph, and Joseph was trying to run away, and she held his cloth. And told
what's the ratio of statistics to back this up? It's like 1 in 100.
For instance, even the issue of rape you are talking about, do you know the number of young boys that women are raping? Some all these grown women
if we were to put that on a scale between the boys that have been raped and the females that have been raped.
Because this issue has not been coming up. No, it's only those that are concerned that can tell you. These issues are not being coming up.
The reason is because if a young boy is raped, there are no signs because he will not bleed. But that of a woman, she will bleed. That is what they will use against
Yemi seems to absolutely disagree with you. But let's hear your thoughts.
You see, when it comes to boys and young guys being sexually abused, maybe this is the first time I'm going to say it. I've probably been a victim of that.
See that?
At a very young age.
You can say it.
No, but that's one in practice.
Sorry, but I'm coming. You don't want to say it. Please. Let me clarify this.
Okay.
As a young guy, we have parents that goes to work very busy, and it's like these. I probably wanted parents to take note of it. Most of the house girls, because of fear of getting pregnant or picking up STDs out there, they turn to your boys at home as sex toys. What it does to the guy, just like anybody, even the female, is that it disorientates and abuses your sexual orientation. You become something else. But when you tell me that ladies are the one instituting these advances of sex or sexual intercourse, I disagree. Because the it brought me in. I want to make two observations. I guess because if you probably read our history books and probably growing up, you realize that our forefathers were going around in leaves. Some were walking around naked. Why were the men then not raping those women at home?
Their mentality then differs.
Secondly, if you go to America or probably Brazil, you have people lying down the beach having suntan. Why don't you just start raping all the ladies?
That's
on the
culture.
Beach? No, it comes to your dignity, your self-control.
Okay.
That's part of their culture.
Yes. Gentlemen, we have to round off on this particular issue now, sex for grades. We have to round off now, but going forward, how do we put an end to this? Just before the show, I was speaking with a female colleague of mine, you know, who was also sharing her experiences while in school, and she said all through school she had to practically stay away or run away from lecturers. And we've had females like that, where the practical, normally you should have a relationship with your tutor or your teacher. You should be able to go to him and say, look, I have this challenge, I do not understand this. That's how it's done in developed countries, where you can communicate with your lecturers and your teachers, you know, and all of that. But where we find ourselves, the female folks are practically afraid of going close to the male lecturers in particular. Going forward, how do we put an end to all of this? We've seen Kiki more than a 53 minutes video documentary was revealed one, but I think that's like one in tens of thousands probably. How do we put an end to this, Dr. Bayo? Let's start with you.
Yeah, you see, number one, parents should try as much as possible to be exposing their children, not only female now, including male children, to sex education at different stages of life. It gets on which one you will expose a particular child to. All right, that is one. Two, the lecturers.
I was going to ask as early as when, because that's another issue for parents. When, at what age does the parents begin to introduce sex education?
You know, children, the way they grow, the way they understand also differs.
Okay.
All right. As long as you see that your child is grabbing one or two things, also be instilling one or two things to him or her as regards sex education.
Okay.
Most parents, especially mothers, should also stop dressing up in the presence of their male children, because when you dressing up in front of that male child, especially any male child that is up to the age of 7, 8, you are sort of putting some things in his subconscious that along the line will be tapped into. All right, then let us now go outside.
Maybe just briefly so we can.
The lecturers too should always see most of these ladies as their own daughters or as their own sisters.
But their parents, their parents who have intercourse, sexual
with their children. Yeah, so, we know. But we are now talking about the lecturers. This sex for grade thing. They should always see them as their own person, as somebody coming out from them. If they can reason that way, probably. Okay. Then lastly, there must be serious punitive measures to whoever is caught in the act.
Would you like to suggest any to the government, probably?
You see, when you are talking about punitive measures, it's not something you just come up with drum like that. People need to sit down, look at the extent of it, and then and
then go ahead. All right, Victor.
Yes, I think both the lecturers and the students should know why they are in the school, why they are in the university. The student should get prepared. She should read her books. She should not wait to use her power to influence marks, because whether we deceive ourselves or not, some of the students actually believe in using their power to get marks. Some of them don't read. That is the basic truth. No matter how we tend to pretend as if we have seen situations where even the female students are the one that will make move that whatever you want, I want to get a better grade. We cannot dispute that one. Then on the part of the lecturers, they should discipline themselves. They should know that they are there to as a role models to the students. Then there must be a proper complaint system in place. If a student is being harassed, she should have a place to complain, and her complaint should be listened to, should be welcomed by the school system. As we have today, I don't think we have a proper complaint system where if you are harassed by a lecturer, then you just go there, you write a complaint about it, and the system will look at it. We don't have such a system, so we should have a better
like
complaint system. Yes,
a feedback system or something. Yeah. Okay, Yemi.
Well, to me, it's beyond this, because if you look at it, it transcends beyond sex for grades. You can even terms it as rape, not consensual sex. The first thing is we should look at our law, which still defines rape as the only time it is called a rape is when there's penetrative sex. We should change our laws.
And that's a problem.
That's a problem. Our laws when it comes to rape is quite archaic, primitive, and probably monolithic, if you can use that word. Secondly, we should change our orientation, because whether we like it or not, if the percentage of the ladies making advances at guys for them to get marks or anything, even a job or what have you, is inconsequential to the numbers of ladies, girls that are abused, even boys. So we should reduce, or we should be conscious of actions or pronouncement that will amount to victim blaming. Then secondly, we should now have a unified law. I'll cite an instance. There was a young girl that was adopted, forced into marriage in Katsina State. As we speak, she's still in the palace of Emir of Katsina. The Emir of Katsina married her off. And she's an underage. In some parts of the country, we use the Criminal Justice Act. In some parts of the country, there's still the Criminal Penal Code. And you look at it, in some parts of the country, if you have sex with an underage, it's called statutory rape. Full age 18. And in some parts of the country, because they want to believe in some religious dictates which I'm not against, they still want to hold to it as long as the lady is probably biologically sound, having a menstrual cycle and what have you, they see her as a woman. And probably some would think once the lady or the parents or once you defile a child and you've accepted to marry her, it's no more rape. So these are the obscene, annoying, infuriating, backward, retrogressive laws that must be expunged from our law books. And apart them, moving forward, if you don't have unified laws or punitive and stipulated in our law books, even the lecturer in the university will go to jail. It's not sex for good. It's not an academic thing. It's a criminal thing.
Okay.
And lastly, parents should encourage their children to speak up.
Yeah, because
that's the fundamental thing. And you see, when you say there's no time for sex education, because you need to be, and one thing I want parents and probably Nigerians to be aware of: those that molest and abuse your children at a very tender age are people close to you. Uncles, drivers, houseboys, what have you, under your nose. So you need to be vigilant.
Let's just while we round off on this now, because the presidency has responded to the Sex for Grades BBC Africa documentary released on Monday. In a statement by Garba Show, the president's spokesman on Friday said Buhari is happy that the video documentary has exposed some lecturers in the University of Lagos. And then the presidency is saying that the country must do more.
Sorry,
presidency
Kenny, sorry to butt in. I don't understand this presidency. Was this presidency asleep? Was the presidency or the president in coma when that would happen in Katsina that he didn't speak up? That the father of that girl was moving from one media platform to the other, shouting, demanding for freedom of her child, right under the nose of the president in his state.
So
you see that?
Is this just to fulfill our rights?
So the president should not insult my intelligence.
No. Those ones that have been unveiled ever since.
What about the Abu lecturer that was deliberately infesting people with HIV?
Did the president speak up there?
Just well, the
same president that raised the hand for during the campaign.
When do we give credence to things that are more foreign than the one that we?
We have a lot of issues. Please, the presidency should not get us angry.